All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore a really provocative idea today, one that comes from a few different sources. The basic premise that what you and I call reality might actually be, well, a series of systems, political, social, even spiritual systems, all supposedly designed to distract and control us. So in this explainer, we're going to try to pull back that curtain and see if we can decode the whole thing. And it really all kicks off with this line. You know it, right? From The Matrix. But here's the thing. According to the sources we're looking at, this isn't just a great movie quote. It's supposed to be the fundamental question we should be asking ourselves every single day. Are you actually focused on what matters? Or are you, getting caught up in all the illusions designed to pull your attention away? So one of our sources actually calls this the red dress test. Think about it. In the movie, it was literally a simulation designed to see if Neo could stay focused while he was being offered his freedom. The argument here is that we face this exact same test all the time. That red dress becomes a metaphor, a symbol for any distraction that yanks our attention away from our real purpose. And failing that test, well, the source warns it could mean the death of your entire mission. Okay, so how does this test actually show up in the real world? Let's look at the first system our sources want us to decode, the political matrix. This is presented as like a perfect example of a constructed reality. It's a place where the official story, the narrative, is often way more powerful than what's actually happening on the ground. So check this out. One source brings up a really specific example. A huge political story breaks, and the headline is that a Canadian leader has shot up to nearly 60% approval. I mean, on the surface, that number looks like a total landslide, right? It suggests massive public support, a powerful mandate. It basically creates this aura of being unbeatable. But of course, our sources immediately hit the brakes and challenge that whole idea. They make us ask the most important question. Is that 60% number real? Is it reflecting reality? Or is it just a mirage, a carefully crafted talking point designed to make a leader look strong and make their success feel inevitable? And here's where you can see that conflict laid out plain as day. You've got the official narrative. Leader surges, leads in key areas, their numbers have doubled. Sounds great. But then there's the counter-narrative from one source. It argues that this whole story is basically a house of cards, that it's built on really shaky polling methods. Like they might be mixing old data with new data or, and this is a big one, they're confusing someone being the preferred choice with that person having genuine approval. Those are two very different things. So while that polished story is being broadcast everywhere, one of our sources says, hey, wait a minute. The streets are telling a totally different story. A reality that's just a world away from those political headlines. And this is how that source describes what's happening on the ground. It's pretty vivid, even shocking language. The point of this quote is to show this massive, jarring gap between the official story of political success and this perceived crisis, this deep despair that's supposedly unfolding in the big city. And to back this up, the sources point to some hard numbers. We're talking about serious job losses, youth unemployment hitting levels not since 1998, and the homeless population just exploding in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver. The argument being made is pretty clear. The political system is busy spinning a story, crafting a narrative, all while these real, measurable crises at home seem to be getting ignored. Now, this whole dynamic of narrative versus reality doesn't just stop with domestic politics. According to our sources, this thing scales way up, all the way to the global stage. We're talking about a geopolitical chessboard where entire countries are basically treated like pawns in a much, much bigger game. Here's a really fascinating argument from one of our sources. What if the Cold War never actually ended? The idea is that this big ideological fight between East and West, which really kicked off way back in 1917, has been a continuous thing. All those periods we call a thaw or peace, they're just pauses, lulls in a strategic battle that has now just entered a new phase. And for a modern-day example of this chessboard, another source points to these US-Russia talks that happened in Alaska. Now, the really important thing here, according to this source, isn't just that the meeting happened, it's who wasn't invited. You have European leaders who are, key players in the very conflict being discussed, completely left out of the room. So to really get the power dynamics they're talking about, one source goes back to this bit of history. The argument is that the language itself can reveal everything. Take the code name for the D-Day landings, Operation Overlord. An overlord is another word for a suzerain. And what does a suzerain have? Vassals. A suzerain is a dominant power that basically controls the foreign policy of the lesser states under its protection. And this leads to the really provocative question the source wants us to ask. When the so-called leader of the free world sits down to negotiate directly with its main adversary and intentionally leaves its closest partners out of the conversation, what does that tell you? Is that a relationship of equal allies? Or does it expose that suzerain-vassal dynamic we were just talking about? So this table, based on the sources analysis, kind of breaks down the alleged strategies in this power play. You've got the US and Russia, both shown to be chasing their own self-interest. It's almost framed like a business deal or a real estate transaction. And Europe? It's portrayed as totally sidelined, left scrambling in a panic just to stay relevant while these huge decisions are being made about them, without them. Okay, so we've journeyed through these massive, frankly, kind of overwhelming systems, from politics to global power plays. And now, our sources bring the whole challenge right back to where we started, with you, with the individual. If all these systems really are designed to distract and control you, then the big question is, how do you unplug? Well, one of our sources actually lays out a pretty clear 4-step path to do just that. Step 1, recognize the woman in the red dress, all those distractions in your own life. Step 2 is to actively reclaim your focus, to master your own attention. Then, step 3, understand your mission, your own personal legend. And finally, step 4 is about uniting the physical world with the divine, transcending just pure materialism. And this all leads to a really powerful statement about personal responsibility. The source basically argues that even if the system is designed to trap you, you are the one who holds the ultimate power. Blaming the system, that's just choosing to be a victim. The real act of rebellion, it suggests, is to take 100% ownership of your focus and your own destiny. So, there you have it. We've taken a tour through the matrix as it's presented by our sources. We went from that personal test of the red dress all the way to the conflicting stories in politics and the huge power plays on the world stage. And the one thing, the common thread weaving through all of this, is that core conflict between illusion and truth. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a political poll, a global summit, or just a simple everyday distraction. The sources claim there is always the official story, and then there's the reality that you can choose to see if you look for it. And that brings us right back to the beginning, leaving you with the exact same choice Neo had in the movie. You can take the blue pill, just accept the comfortable story you're being told, or you can take the red pill and commit to seeing just how deep this rabbit hole really goes. The sources have laid out the choice. Now it's up to you.